Welcome back to the cafeteria, the affordable kitchen with easy recipes teaching you how to cook. I'm Kayshawn, and today I'm making a real fancy, beefy, cheesy lasagna. So let's get into it. Okay, so before I get started making this lasagna, let me tell you how much everything costs. So in total, this lasagna cost me $24.56 to make. The ground beef, $8.96 for both packs. They're each $4.48. The tomato sauce, $3.76. They're both. I have 2 jars of the roasted garlic and herb sauce, and they're each $1.88. I got some mild cheddar for $2.78. Some mozzarella cheese for $2.22. Some ricotta cheese for $1.88, and the spinach is $4.96. So let's get into making this lasagna. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start by cutting our vegetables. So I have 1.5 bell peppers and 1 onion. So you can chop it as thin or as thick as you like. It will cook down because we're gonna put this in the sauce. Now, moving on to cooking the meat. I'm only using 1 pack of the meat that I bought. I bought 2 just in case I wanted to use more, but I'm only using 1 pack. And I'm going to start by placing this in a big pan, and I'm not adding any oils or anything to this. I'm just going to put the meat directly in the pan and let it cook until it starts to release some of those fatty oils and all that meaty juice that we don't want in the sauce. Moving on to the next step, in our small skillet, I just got a little bit of olive oil, and I'm going to let that heat up, and then I'm going to add my rinsed clean spinach to the skillet, and I'm just going to let that cook down. And I'm going to add a whole bunch of spinach because you know spinach cooks down to a lot of nothing. So I'm adding a whole lot of spinach just to make sure that I had enough to add to the lasagna. Now, moving on to the most important step of cooking ground beef and making a sauce. I am rinsing my ground beef because I want all of that fatty, look at all that nasty grease. I'm rinsing all that out because we don't want our sauce to be separated and looking a hot mess, okay? This is a fancy beefy cheesy lasagna, and all that nasty stuff, that's not fancy. So rinse it about two to 3 times just to make sure you get all that fat and that skim off the meat before we season it. Because if you season it now and then you rinse it, you're going to wash all of your seasoning and your flavor away. So I let this get about halfway done, and then I rinse it, and then I'm going to put it back in the skillet. Now that my meat is nice and clean and meat juice free, I'm going to add my onions and bell peppers and then my seasonings. I'm going to mix it up real nice, and then I'm going to cover it and let it cook and get nice and flavorful and fragrant and fancy. For my seasonings, I'm just using seasoned salt, onion powder, garlic powder, Italian seasoning, black pepper, and crushed red pepper. Now, once your spinach gets nice and cooked down like this, you want to turn off the heat and remove it from the stove. Now, moving on to the ricotta cheese portion of this lasagna, I'm taking this whole container of ricotta cheese and I'm going to put it into a bowl so that I can mix it up. And to this ricotta cheese, I'm going to add a little parsley just to make it a little, make it a little more spiced up. And then I'm going to add 1 egg just to make it creamy, make it a little looser, because as you can see, ricotta cheese is just not that it's not loose enough for this lasagna. So I'm going to add 1 egg, and then I'm going to add my spinach to that, and we're done with this. So, some way, somehow, the first part of me adding this whole jar of sauce got lost. But picking up here, I put a little bit of water into this jar just to get the remaining sauce out of there. And then that just wasn't enough sauce for me, so I'm going to add a little bit of the second jar of sauce that I bought. And then I'm going to continue cooking this over medium low heat actually. And then I'm just going to let that continue to cook until my onions and bell peppers get soft. So now for the fun part, putting this lasagna together. So this pan is one of a 3-pack that I got from Dollar Tree. I got a 3-pack of little loaf pans from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to start by putting a little bit of sauce in the bottom of the pan. Why? Because that's how I see everybody else make lasagna, and it seems to work. So sauce, then noodles. Then I'm going to add a little ricotta cheese. And then from that point on, I'm just going to alternate adding ricotta cheese, noodles, sprinkling a little Italian cheese here, mozzarella there, and then I'm going to keep adding sauce and keep layering. I love a lot of noodles in my lasagna, and then I'm going to keep doing all that until I get to the top, and then I'm going to loosely cover it with aluminum foil. And we want to loosely cover it because we don't want our cheese to start melting and then the aluminum foil sticks and just pulls all the cheese off the top of the lasagna. Once you have the lasagna put together, you want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees, and then you're going to cook your lasagna for 25 to 30 minutes until your cheese is melted and your noodles are soft. And then you're done. Okay, y'all, this is what my lasagna is looking like. Oh, don't it look good? But it's hot, but we're going to try to taste it anyway. So look at that. Hot, hot, hot. So I'm gonna just taste this little bit right here. Look at that. that spinach. Woo. But that's it. This is my lasagna. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.